Now, what kind of bike is the Honda Grom actually? Who is it for and what does the bike do? Let's dive into it. When Honda launched this little mini bike kind of motorcycle way back in 2014, one had thought, who would want to buy this? It seems that everybody wants this motorcycle. This bike is truly a one-size-fit-everybody motorcycle if ever there was one. It is small, it is cheap, it has a bulletproof engine, it runs forever and you cannot break too many traffic rules with this one. Is this a beginner's bike? It can be one. It is not a big bike that will intimidate you. It does not have overwhelming power to blow you away. And if you're already crushed under student loans, you can probably still afford to buy a Grom and commute to class. This is actually a great place to begin street biking if you have never been into dirt bikes before. A new rider is already trying to juggle between gear shifts, the clutch release and the throttle response that it can be all over the place. And the 9 bhp of the Grom will make sure that the bike does not run away too far from the rider. It becomes easy and quick to master and serves as a great stepping stone to the next level of motorcycling to bigger bikes, faster speeds and riskier lives, give or take some luck and chance. That said, Honda has actually sold north of 750,000 Groms in the past 7 years, and 30% of those buyers were beginners, which essentially means that 70% of Grom buyers are experienced riders who chose the Grom for what it is, what it represents, easy to ride, oodles of no-nonsense fun, accessible and cheap and reliable. It is not highly impressive, but let's do the numbers nonetheless. It is a 125cc air-cooled single-cylinder engine. It delivers 9.7 bhp at 9000 rpm and 10.5 Newton meters of torque. With those numbers, you're not going to break any land speed records. But you may not break your leg either, which is a good thing. At just 103 kilos, or around 220 pounds, that linear torque delivery actually can give a quick start at red light drags. And the fact that this bike is fuel injected makes it a more versatile motorcycle with no hiccups if you live at higher elevations. I cannot give you the 0 to 100 numbers because the Grom maxes out at 90 km an hour. With some downhill gravity, you can hit 100, and with some favorable wind on your back, you may make it till 110 maybe even. In 2022, the Grom got a 5th gear that will help you reach 100 on a downhill rush. It also got a higher compression ratio, a brand new tank with easily removable screws for accessory kits that are as much fun as the bike itself. The brakes, on the front it is a 220mm disc, and if you own a blue Grom in America, you have the luxury of an ABS, only in the front. The brakes do feel a little woody on the feedback, but this bike, you can stop with your foot on the ground. Tank capacity is 6 liters, that's 1.6 gallons US. That gives you a range of about 240 kilometers or 185 miles going flat out. The suspension is gold on the pearl white, and it looks good. It is an inverted cartridge in the front with a travel of 3.9 inches or 10 centimeters. That suspension is not adjustable, but I would not be surprised if they made it adjustable in a year or two. Rear suspension is a monoshock with 10.4 centimeters of travel or 4.1 inches. Suspension is quite good, albeit a little soft. Let me show you how I sit on the bike. I'm 165 centimeters tall or 5 feet 6. The seat height is at 76 centimeters or 30 inches. Flat foot is not what I'm looking at. The way the Grom is designed, I have never seen anybody have any problems riding this motorcycle. The tank is narrow enough. It is surprisingly comfortable. If I stand up, the bike would slip from underneath me. If you're a tall person, the knees will not be hindered from what I have seen. It is very easy to lean the bike and throw it into the corners if you want. You can make this bike do almost everything. Take it out on a racetrack, actually get your knee down and practice and perfect your turns around the corners. Or you can change the tires and go for some trails riding in the woods. And if you cannot do stoppies and wheelies, this is a bike to learn on and move ahead. At $3,399 US, this bike will give you far more fun than anything else at that price. It is light, it is agile, it is nimble, it is fairly capable, and it is inexpensive. And it has a plethora of accessories and a large community of support. And no matter how hard you ride it, you'll still remain within the speed limit. What does the competition look like? Well, the Kawasaki makes a very similar Z125 Pro, which is also a lot of fun and comes in a bunch of colors. It is a pretty strong rival to the Grom, but we'll talk about that another day. Beginner, intermediate or advanced rider, the Grom is a huge fun motorcycle for anyone. If you cannot have fun on a Grom, then more than a motorcycle, you actually need a therapist. It's actually an exciting little bike. If I had 5,000 bucks lying around, I would actually contemplate probably getting one of these just for the fun of it. I'd like to know if you had 5,000 bucks lying around, or even are you getting into a beginner segment, or whichever segment do you think, would you be tempted by the Grom? What's your opinion? I'd like to know your comments in the comment section down below, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Until then, ride safe.